Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Chubby Gourmet. Today we're going to look at healthy ingredients and healthy food that's not only healthy but delicious also. Now I do want to preface this by saying I am not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a dietitian. I'm basically a fat guy who likes to eat. So take it for what it's worth. But everything I present today is going to be 100% factual, and I'll include in the description below the ingredients and the health benefit they have. Things like lowering blood pressure, and again, you don't replace any medication you're on with this dish. I'm just saying these are things that will help. Things for like triglycerides, so to help your cholesterol, blood pressure lowering. Again, not a medical remedy, but foods that lend themselves to that, and I'll be explaining as we go through the ingredients how and why. And if you like what you see, please like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you're notified when we have a new video coming out. And just to give you a heads up, we are going to have some upcoming travel videos and simple to make cuisines from some exotic lands from around the world. So stay tuned for that, it's going to be pretty exciting. And without further ado, let's make it happen. Okay everyone, the first thing we're going to do is prepare the root vegetables. Just to give you a quick summary of what we're cooking today, we're baking salmon and we're using root vegetables, specifically beets and potatoes. Beets are actually very, very healthy, an awesome vegetable. They are high in nitrates. Your body converts nitrates to nitric oxide. And what nitric oxide is a vasodilator. And that's just a fancy word for saying your blood vessel opening, say it's like this big, it will dilate, meaning that it expands. That lowers blood pressure. So that's why we're including beets with our vegetables to go with the salmon. So here's what we've got. What I've done is I've already diced up a couple of pounds of fresh beets, peeled and diced, about ½ inch cube, maybe a little bit bigger, whatever your personal taste is. And I'm going to mix with a little oil. Now I'm not using olive oil because I don't want the flavor of olives in this dish. I'm not using avocado oil for the same reason. I personally never use canola or vegetable oil. You definitely can. I'm using grapeseed oil. It's a healthier alternative. It also has a higher flash point. So we don't want the fire trucks coming for this episode, so I'm using the grapeseed oil. I'm going to put about a tablespoon and a half of grapeseed oil. Next, going to use some dill weed. And by that I mean some dried dill. For those of you that get that. I'm going to put some ground, I should say, black pepper. And of course a little bit of salt. Not a whole lot, maybe about ¼ teaspoon. And I'm going to mix these up in the bowl. Now why am I doing the beets first and not along with the potatoes? We're going to roast the beets first. And then when we add the potatoes, we're going to keep them apart because everything that beets touch turn red. Now we're going to take these, and I've got a medium-sized roasting pan. Now I'm going to put these in the left-hand side of the baking pan because we'll be adding, not eating yet, we'll be adding the potatoes in a short time. Now, as I might have mentioned before, I've preheated the oven to 425 degrees. 425 to 450 should be adequate. And we're going to roast these for about 15 minutes, and we'll see how they look. So let's do that. While the beets are roasting, we're going to prepare the potatoes. Simple russet potatoes. About a pound and a half. And for these, we're just going to have the oil, of course, because we're roasting them. We're going to add about a tablespoon of oil. And we're going to season with another maybe ¼ tablespoon, a teaspoon rather, of salt. And once the beets are done, we're going to add the potatoes to the other side of the pan and keep them both in there at 425 for about another 10 minutes. While we're roasting vegetables, I'm going to prepare a very simple cream sauce. Heavy cream, horseradish, which is also very healthy. Again, I'll include all the technical details in the description below. Don't want to waste your time in the video talking too nerdy today. We're going to make a cream sauce. Simple ingredients. It's really just heavy cream and some horseradish. And what I'm using for horseradish is a prepared horseradish. What that means is, because prepared horseradish is always ground horseradish, vinegar, and salt. So what I'm going to do is actually put it on a sieve, measure out the 2 tablespoons we're going to use, and I'm going to drain them. So I don't want much of that acid from the vinegar in the flavor of the sauce. So why don't we do that first? So I've measured out a 1/2 cup of heavy cream, nothing special. We're going to wait for that. We're going to use the horseradish now, like I mentioned. We're going to drain this guy. So I'm going to take out about 2 tablespoons. Now, of course, what you can do, if you can get fresh horseradish and grate it, then you don't have to go through this draining and rinsing procedure. And we're just going to season that with a little bit of black pepper and a little bit of salt. And when we get ready to serve, all we need to do is bring this to a simmer for a few minutes, and it's ready to go. It's that simple. It's about that time. I'm going to take out our roasting beets, and they smell so nice. I'm going to toss these a little bit. I'm still going to keep them on that side of the pan, the left side of the roasting pan. Now I'm going to add the potatoes to the other side. And the reason I'm keeping them separate is because beets have this lovely reddish, purplish color that they impart on everything they make contact with. And I don't want to dye my potatoes pink right now, because that would be pretty beet.
Sounds bad.
Hey, I didn't promise they'd all be funny, okay? We're going to return the roasting pan to the oven, another 10 minutes or so. We're just cooking. We're not building a space shuttle. Okay, our roasted vegetables are in the home stretch. What we're going to do now is prepare the salmon. Easy cheesy. So we're going to need a couple of tablespoons of mustard. So I'm going to put some gray poop on the salmon. And we're going to put, again, the ratio is up to you. I like equal parts with the Dijon mustard, and I use maple syrup. You can use honey as well. I think maple syrup counters the tanginess of the mustard a little nicer. So I'm going to add an equal amount of each, because I don't really want to be overwhelmed with mustard flavor. Stir this up nice and thorough. I'm going to season with a little salt. Emphasis on the word little. And that should do it for that. I've got about a 1/2 cup of ground walnuts. All I'm going to add to this is maybe a teaspoon or so, maybe a little bit more, of fresh chopped parsley. So I'm going to put that in there. Mix that up by hand. I want to put a little more because I like parsley. And there we go. Now we're going to prepare the salmon. And what we're going to do is add the salmon, because the vegetables are still roasting. So we're going to add them first, probably take the vegetables out. We'll see how they're cooking along. Again with the grapeseed oil. A couple of tablespoons, just something to put the salmon on. And as far as salmon goes, this is important. Not that important, but informative at least. Salmon's very high in omega-3s. Omega-3s definitely reduce triglycerides, so they're excellent for your cholesterol profile. And also inflammation. Omega-3s decrease inflammation in the body. And there's like what, hundreds of species of salmon out there. Sockeye salmon, in this case Atlantic sockeye, have the highest concentration of omega-3s of all the salmons, which is why I picked fresh sockeye salmon. Prepare our roasting pan, or roasting sheet rather, and I'm just going to put that on there, both pieces. As far as size, I've got this is maybe just a pound altogether. And next I'm going to first put the Dijon mustard and maple syrup combination on. And we want to coat a goodly amount of the surface. We don't need to go crazy with it. Then I'm going to take the ground walnut and chopped parsley combination. I'm going to mix that up, and I'm going to basically not only sprinkle it, but I'm going to press it down onto the fish. And that should be plenty. That's the
Sexiest salmon you ever saw.
I'm gonna put this in the oven in addition to the roasted vegetables. These are relatively thin pieces of salmon and we're at 425 degrees. So we really shouldn't need more than 15 minutes, maybe 20 at the max, to get these fully cooked without drying them out. We want them still nice and soft and cooked, of course, but don't want to overcook the salmon. Salmon chanted evening. Now we play the waiting game. Okay, our potatoes and beets are roasted, and we kept them separate, like I mentioned, on purpose. But now we're going to be combining them for the dish anyway. So let's put these babies together. And it is now time to simmer the cream and horseradish that we spoke of earlier. And we don't want to boil it, we just want to get it to a light simmer. Which will liquefy that heavy cream a little bit as well. No worries. Okay, it's about that time. Don't want to overcook the salmon. And it looks like she's cooked plenty. So let's plate it, combine the ingredients, and make it so. Make it so what? I don't know. Let's take a nice piece of salmon. Gonna take some beets, some taters, and we've got our cream sauce. Pour some of that on the veggies. And here's what the finished dish looks like. So I'm gonna give this a try. Em, you gotta try some too, and leave all hope behind. Still piping hot. The 15 minutes for the salmon was absolutely perfect for that thickness salmon. And also just to mention with seasoning, with salt and pepper, very personal thing. Some people like more salt, some like less. I prefer less. I just like just enough that it enhances the food. Not that you're like, oh wow, look at that salt. I do not like a lot of salt, but again, it's a personal thing. There's no right or wrong in cooking. The beets with the cream sauce and horseradish. Came out just right this time. And there you have it. Salmon with roasted beets and potatoes. And as always, I will include in the description below the health reasons behind all the ingredients. And if you like what we're doing here, please subscribe, like, and comment. I love to hear from everybody. Until next time, hasta lasagna.